Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas actually said that with a straight face today, that the Biden administration was effectively managing the border crisis. And take a look at the numbers, shall we? More than 9,000 migrants are crossing the border every day. As Brian pointed out, once Title 42 comes to an end, it's going to be an estimated 18,000 migrants a day. In the month of March, 221,000 encounters happened at the border. That is a record, but that's effective management, according to this White House. Joining me now, Republican Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, how do you stop it? Because Mayorkas is saying it's Congress's fault.
Well, Dagan, you know what? It's this administration's fault, clearly. And by the way, Congress is right now run by the Democrats, both the House and the Senate. They have the majorities. They have to own this crisis. And it's not even a crisis, Dagan. It's an absolute catastrophe. President Trump turned a flood into a trickle, and then it became a flood again come January 20th of last year. Joe Biden has been in office for 16 months, and what we have seen is 150,000, at least 150,000 illegal border crossings, 13 months in a row. Never happened before in our history. 2 million illegal border crossings in a calendar year, never happened before in our history, and the drug cartels are making record profits. Joe Biden has to own this because you know how to fix it? The migrant protection protocols, the Wait in Mexico policy under President Trump worked. Title 42 works, and they're talking about rescinding that. This is insane. It's madness, and nobody knows what it's going to look like if they do, in fact, go through with their plans.
There was a report out that Nancy Pelosi has even joined House Democrats, about 50 of them, unhappy with the way that Title 42 is being handled. But with all, and you've heard from Democrat senators far and wide who have gotten behind bipartisan legislation to try and address the nightmare that rescinding Title 42 will result in, including Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly from Arizona. Does any of this have legs to prevent a tsunami of illegal migrants from coming across this border in a matter of weeks, Congressman?
Well, Dagan, that's a great question. And is it, you know, the Democrats' recent conversion, is it policy or is it politics? Because there's an election that's going to start in about 6 months. I don't know what that is, but what I want to see is leadership, not wokeness and weakness. President Trump had a policy that worked, and Joe Biden has done the exact opposite. He's rescinded it all. And now that we see, you know, the Border Patrol agents told us last week that they can handle about 3,500 illegal border crossers in a calendar in a day, and that stresses them to their limits. When you were just talking about 9,000, what we're seeing today, there are large swaths of the border that are unguarded, 50 miles, 100-mile stretches, and the cartels are smart. They make $4,000 a head with folks that are crossing the border illegally. So they're making about $25 billion a year with illegal narcotics. And if you do the math, that's about $1 billion a month in just human smuggling as well. And each one helps the other. Once they flood a sector with human beings, then they know this is unguarded. That's where they sneak in their illegal drugs.
Congressman, Tom Homan said yesterday that Mayorkas, Homeland Security Secretary, and DHS issued a policy that you cannot arrest an illegal immigrant if they're a parent. So if they have a child with them under the age of 18, you're not going to be able to touch them. So in terms of what this administration has done, they're continuing to make it worse. And today, Jen Psaki blamed the CDC for the removal of Title 42, rather than them taking responsibility for it.
Yeah, they're the same administration that just a week ago wanted us to continue to wear masks on public transit. So they say one thing and they do another. By the way, Secretary Mayorkas last year, under oath in a Homeland Security Committee hearing, said that the border was secure. And he said it with a straight face. And then shortly thereafter, he was caught on a hot mic saying it was chaos. So which is it? Because he's clearly abdicated his responsibilities. And as you so adroitly pointed out, Dagan, that he said effectively managed. Is it effectively managing a crisis and a catastrophe when we've had a record number of migrants crossing the border, a record number of illegal narcotics, and 100,000 American deaths? That's a disaster. It's not effectively managing.
I keep saying it. If only these people in the Biden administration would start going to some funerals. If they're not going to fix the problem, then they need to at least mourn for all the people who have lost their lives because of the fentanyl trafficking, or even the migrants who are dying, which Tom Homan talked about. You plan, in terms of the letter that you and your colleagues have written about Secretary Mayorkas, do you think I'm getting ahead of myself, but if the Republicans retake the House, will he be impeached?
That's a great question. You know what? If he doesn't change course immediately, I don't see why that wouldn't be on the table come January. Because he has abdicated his responsibilities, and Americans, if we're not safe, then we're not free. And what Mayorkas has proven over 16 months is he's the cartel's best friend. I mean, this is exactly what the Mexican drug cartels want. They want an administration that will put their head in the sand and ignore the glaring issues that are on the border. Joe Biden has made every state a border state. It's not just us in Texas. It's everybody in the country that's suffering the consequences. We want a wall, but we want it with gates. We want legal migration so we know who these people are. So when they get here, they can strengthen the country. We want the world's best, but we have to put America's interests first.
And people have said that they've talked to Mayorkas privately, and he's very upset about what's going on at the border, and he wants to do something different. Maybe the something different is quit. If you're unhappy with it. I'm serious. It's like, why would you stand by and carry water for this administration when their policies that you're executing are killing people, from fentanyl poisonings or even the migrants, or Bishop Evans, the National Guardsman who died? Where's the mourning for him? Thank you, Congressman Fallon. Good to see you. Be well.
Thank you, Dagan.